Okay, hi everyone. I was here busy doing some technical details as I am setting us up for mini mindful moment number 26. Turn your year's experiences into real leadership wisdom. Um, checking out over here on LinkedIn to see those of you who are coming in live. I appreciate seeing people in person here. So I have some slides like I normally do when I do these that I'd like to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. So who am I? Let's talk about that first. I am Karen, an executive coach and business consultant, and I focus on leadership, culture, and strategy with my clients with an IMX approach that I've developed, and I guide leaders at all levels of organizations to discover their inner genius and wield healthy and authentic power. And one of the ways that I do this is through mindfulness practices that help leaders develop deeper and deeper leadership and personal and life wisdom. So this mini mindful moment today is really focused on that, cultivating wisdom from the year. So as the year winds down, most leaders are still in this very forward movement, getting things done, rushing headlong into planning for the next year, oftentimes without truly digesting and learning from their experiences from the year. So we do things like year-end reviews, we check off the goals that we've gotten accomplished, we hand out bonuses, we create annual plans. But often all of this stays at a very surface level, focused on metrics and outcomes rather than the deeper wisdom that you can get from the experiences that you've had from the year. So it's kind of like rushing through a meal without really tasting the food that you're eating or let it deeply nourish you. And so we end up carrying around this unprocessed experience into the new year, missing out on the opportunity, I think of it as, to transform that into an embodied kind of wisdom that makes us truly better leaders. So I want you to think about your significant experiences for 2024. But you think about your successes and your challenges, and what as you just reflect on that. So we're going to go into the formal part of the mindfulness practice in a bit. But right now, I want you to just give yourself a moment to consider what insights may still be waiting to be fully understood from your successes and from your challenges. And this would be great for you to share in the comments. And actually, I forgot to click join here. Now I get to see all of you. So go ahead and any thoughts that you have about, okay, successes and challenges, what insights might still be waiting to be fully understood? If you could go ahead and comment on that, that would be awesome. And it also could be in the recording when you listen to that. So nature shows us how to gather wisdom from experience. So in the fall, we're currently in the northern hemisphere, we're in the fall where trees don't hang on to their leaves. I mean, some do, but you'll notice even evergreen trees will lose, like pine trees lose needles. It looks like they're staying green, but there is a letting go for every plant. Animals tend to hibernate. They tend to hold, but plants are letting go. And this is a vital process where those leaves break down in the soil, creating rich nutrients that then feed their growth in the next year. So a tree or a plant, and I'm not modeling it on the bear hibernating. I'm modeling this on the tree whose energy moves inward. And in this quieter time of late fall and winter, the essence of the past year's growth can be integrated into the tree or your very being. So similarly, our experiences need to be broken down and processed before they can nourish our leadership growth. But in our fast-paced world, we rarely give ourselves this integration time. And it's so interesting. I'm thinking of my father at this point in time where we'd have a meal, we'd sit around the kitchen table and we'd be talking. And he would at some point always he'd get up and say, "Oh, yep, I've had enough of this. It's getting kind of deep." And it was his way of showing that he was uncomfortable with the conversations where we were processing what was going on. And so I think it's important to recognize some people can do more of this than others, but doing it must happen. Like doing none of it at all is the processing is really unhealthy. Like my dad stayed for part of it, but not the whole thing. So there's a crucial difference between surface level lessons learned and deep integrated wisdom. So when we only capture intellectual lessons, we might know that something is important, but we haven't yet embodied that knowing in a way that naturally influences our future actions for the better. It's only when learning becomes deeper that we begin to act on it. So, like, think about learning to ride a bicycle. So, reading about balance and watching videos, maybe that could help, but it's only through this direct experience that your body can learn the subtle adjustments that you need to balance and stay upright. And that knowledge becomes embodied wisdom when it's integrated so that you don't have to think about it anymore. It becomes natural to do the pause and listen and be curious instead of bringing in your need to be right. That's an example. So, leadership wisdom develops in the same way where your body and nervous system hold important information about what really worked and what didn't work this year. So you could think about this as the amount or the moment, maybe as you reflect that your stomach tightened during a difficult conversation. What was going on when your stomach tightened? Was it just a fear response or was it something more? Or maybe noticing that surge of energy you felt when something you've been working on finally clicked, that movement of energy. So what new information came in with that? Did you brush past that and just, yay, we got it done and move on to the next thing? Or did you take time to go into the new learning and the new wisdom that came with that energy? Or maybe there was a calm certainty that came with your best decisions. Right, like that kind of calm. It's like, "Oh, I really did feel confident about that decision." Or maybe it was, I felt anxious and then I felt calm. So, what helped that transition from anxious to calm? What allowed that to happen? So, we can only access these insights when we slow down enough to listen within ourselves. And this is like soil needs time to break down leaves into nutrients. When we take time to process our experiences into wisdom, it takes a moment longer than we might usually give ourselves. So now in the northern, well, we're in this transition, the seasonal transition in the northern hemisphere from fall to winter. It really is the perfect time for gathering this kind of wisdom. So the natural world is showing us how we can let go of what no longer serves us while preserving the essential learning from our experiences. And so when we align with this rhythm, we can transform our year's experiences into the kind of deep knowing that makes us personally as leaders more effective, more authentic, and resilient. So, I want to share a quick example with you. One of my clients is a senior technology leader. I think he's a mechanical engineer. He was frustrated that his team kept running into the same communication challenges despite the lessons learned sessions. They do retrospectives. And so when he and I talked about the pattern still continuing, we just slowed down to explore his experiences personally. And he realized that he had been avoiding the difficult topic of abusive behavior with one of his clients and how that impacted his employees, like what was going on with that. And he could still feel the tension of this situation in his body. It was the kind of thing where he was, I would describe it as like yuck in his gut, where it was like, you guys know that feeling, right? Or it was actually warning him that something was off. He was uncomfortable, but also something was off. And his employees weren't feeling heard in this situation. So it was really important for him to be paying attention to what was going on in his own body and with his people. So once he learned to trust his own embodied wisdom a bit more and how to ride the waves of that discomfort, letting it move through him and let new energy and information come through, then he could address this deeper issue instead of avoiding it. And he started learning and experiencing how he could address these concerns earlier instead of putting them off and prevent communication challenges from escalating into abuse. It's a big deal to be able to do this kind of stuff. So, by taking time now to gather wisdom from this year's experiences, you're not just collecting mental notes. You're actually developing the kind of integrated leadership wisdom that will serve you naturally and effectively in the year ahead. So, as with all of our mini mindful moments, we are being guided by the IMX compass, which is based on the natural rhythms of the season. And right now, we're at the very, very tail end of the West in fall, where we harvest learnings from our experiences, just like you harvest, crops, while preparing for winter's deeper inner work that's needed. So I provided an experience of the compass in my very, very first mini mindful moment. So if you missed that one, make sure you go back and check in with that when you get a chance. The link to that is in the description of this event. So as we move into today's practice about turning your experiences into real wisdom, I invite you to slow down and create space for deeper knowing to emerge. And so let's explore how to gather that kind of wisdom right now. So let yourself go ahead and fully arrive in this moment, transitioning from all that you've been doing. And this is easier. I know, like I'm doing this live in the middle of the day on a Monday. It's much easier to do it when maybe, in the evening. So if you're listening to the recording, it's probably easier to do this transitioning from what you've been doing. Just recognize that. And so like a tree in late fall, this is the time for you to draw your energy inward. You can think of this also as dusk at the end of the day, where you're wrapping things up and getting ready to take time with your kids or time for yourself if you're disciplined. Go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. And notice your breath. Just the natural in breath and out breath that happens automatically without your heroic effort. Just let yourself notice the in breath and the out breath for a few moments. And notice how, as you're breathing, your body is being enlivened with every single one of your breaths. Energy in with a breath. With each breath, you're receiving more energy. And so just notice the quality of your life force energy right now. And let yourself, as you're noticing the quality of your energy, let yourself relax and feel supported by whatever it is that you're sitting on. Maybe you're lying down. And let yourself feel the earth's steady presence beneath you, maybe around you, holding you just as it holds the falling leaves. The leaves fall, but they're still held by the earth, ready to transform those leaves into nourishment for what's ahead. And so go ahead and, as you're noticing your energy, your life force energy within you, let it drop down into the earth, letting it anchor you into this present moment of gathering wisdom. And you might be able to either imagine or feel your energy dropping down like roots, reaching deep into the soil of the earth that is rich with lots of experience, but including yours. And now, as you notice your breath, keep noticing your breath, bring your awareness to your center, where you can sense, wherever it is that you can sense your center in your body. Could be in your belly, could be in your midline. This deep center of you is your inner compass, the place where your deepest knowing resides. And from here, you can access the wisdom that's already within you. So I want you to just feel your center, wherever that is, and the aliveness that's just always here, reliably always here. You may feel tired. You may feel energized, but this aliveness is always here. And it coalesces, it coheres in your center. So let yourself feel that now. So go ahead and take a moment now to reflect on this past year. Instead of thinking about specific events, I want you yourself to, as you review the year, like January, February, March, just let yourself, instead of each event, just let yourself feel the texture of this year in your body. What sensations do you notice? And where do you feel them? There's no need to analyze. Just notice what's here. So for me this year was honestly one of the hardest of my life given family challenges with my father-in-law dying and my brother-in-law dying and the family dynamics that came out of that. My stomach, my heart, my body, there's a lot of pain here. For the way I was treated. So let yourself just feel the sensations and texture of this year. Maybe you're feeling some tension or heaviness from challenges, maybe some lightness or expansion from successes. Like let it all just be here, like leaves collecting on the forest floor. Now, I want you to bring to mind one significant experience from this year, this past year. It could be a success, a challenge, a moment of insight, whatever naturally arises. Rather than thinking about it, what happened, again, just notice how your body responds as you remember this experience. So, what do you feel in your muscles? And what happens to your breath, your heart, your gut? Let yourself be curious about these sensations. Your body holding wisdom about this experience that your thinking mind probably missed out on. So if you notice yourself starting to analyze or judge, just gently return your awareness to these feeling sensations in your body. So just like a tree doesn't judge its leaves as they fall, it just happens, right? You don't need to judge your experiences or this one you're focusing on. Just let it be there in contact with your awareness. So notice now in this moment, what does your body know about this one particular experience that your mind hasn't fully recognized? What wisdom is here waiting to be gathered? So, for example, for me, I'm feeling the strength that has built within me from the challenges this year with family. And I'm feeling the love and compassion that I have for them. At the same time, the part of me that's like, yep, not okay, not okay. So I have removed myself and just feeling the strength in that of I became more strong because of this year. So just see what's there for you as you let yourself be with this one particular experience from the year. So as you're just sitting with this, let your awareness embrace your whole self, your body, your heart, your energy. Just notice what's going on with that and your mind. Like a tree that integrates sunlight and water and soil and air into its treeness. You can gather wisdom through all of these different aspects of yourself. And so notice how your mind, let's notice what's happening with your thoughts here. I've guided you away from thinking. So notice how your mind can serve this integration of your wholeness by simply observing. Oh, these thoughts, let them go. Be with the sensation rather than needing to analyze or direct or get overly involved. Like we're letting your mind, your thinking mind, take a back seat now. It doesn't need to figure anything out here. This is a deeper wisdom. And so, from this whole self awareness, from the whole of you, what is emerging for you now? What deeper knowing becomes available when all these parts of you, body, heart, intuition, will, and then your mind, when they work together? So you can trust that wisdom, knowing, can arise in many ways from these body sensations, feelings, energy shifts, gentle insights. So, with mindfulness and meditation, usually wisdom and information arises in very subtle ways. So, it can be very subtle and can also be big flashes of insight. But it doesn't usually happen if you're trying to make it happen. So, just keep staying present and noticing. This one experience from the year, what wisdom does it have for you? So let yourself take a few breaths, conscious breaths here, letting any insights emerge naturally. And let yourself receive whatever wisdom is ready to be gathered. And trust that, like the natural cycles of the seasons, this process of integration has its own timing and its own intelligence. So take a few more breaths again, feeling the support of the earth beneath you, the wisdom of your body within you, and the spaciousness of awareness that's both inside of you and outside of you. Part of this aliveness that you're swimming in. So, as you prepare to open your eyes, know that this wisdom gathering can continue. We're not done. You're not done. So, like the leaves slowly breaking down into soil, your experiences can continue to transform into the kind of deep knowing that enriches your leadership. So go ahead and gently open your eyes when you're ready. And as you move through the rest of your day, notice moments when your body offers wisdom through sensations and energy shifts. When is your energy feeling high? When is it low? Or maybe some subtle knowing. So, this is how we can build the kind of embodied wisdom that serves us naturally in our leadership. And if you'd like to explore how you can effectively access and trust your whole self wisdom all the time, especially during challenging times, I invite you to take our IMX authenticity quiz. It's free, and it's an assessment that helps you to understand how well you can maintain connection with your deeper knowing while navigating complexity and change and challenges. And the link to that is in the description of this mini mindful moment. Thank you all for coming along for this mini mindful moment with me. And I hope you have a really lovely rest of your day. Okay, take care.